Hello, everyone. It is Rory here at the Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. I'm still here with Sivi, and we are chatting all things San Marino, as you can see from the title of this video. San Marino has held its selection, the San Marino Song Contest, formerly known as Una Voce per San Marino, and it was horrendously long as per usual, but now we have our winner. It is Senhit with potentially Boy George coming into this too. So, we have some thoughts about things that went down here. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, yes, so I think we have to kind of preface this in the sense that this went on for so long that I think most people only really paid that much attention to it sort of once we actually got to the final. I mean, the semifinals were also kind of somewhat paid attention to, but San Marino kind of did that thing again where they released all of the finalists before all of the live shows had even gone out. So don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I mean, yeah, let's just start that way. How do you think San Marino's selections for Eurovision are like this?
I totally forgot that happened, by the way, the thing you just said. Um, that was fun. Weird, but fun. Yeah, San Marino, as usual, very unexpected. So the national final itself, I have to say, I only watched the final because, of course, I don't want to criticize, but there was no sense on watching the semifinals if you already know the finalists, right?
Yeah.
No sense. So I didn't really watch them. Overall, again, I don't want to criticize, but I think this national final needs some improvements under many aspects. Both musical aspects, hosting to quite everything needs to be better. You watch a Eurovision national final, all of them are very different from each other. There are amazing ones, there are worse ones. But this one is kind of, I don't know, it's just different, but not in a positive way. I don't want to criticize, but I feel like they need to make some improvements. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I remember back in the day when San Marino had one in 360, and that
Oh
was
my God.
that was in itself a chaotic time. And we thought that, okay, well, this is a failed national final. They're not going to go back to doing a national final after all of this stuff. And then we got obviously Una Voce per San Marino, and then now we have San Marino Song Contest. Like, it's very obvious that they really want to do a national selection. And, I think a lot of people are also very aware that they are very much willing to have everyone involved. And that's why you get acts from, the UAE, you get acts from the US, like Romania and like all of these kind of ones. I think it's good that they are bringing in so many different people, but also at the same time, it's just a bit like there does not need to be so many levels into this selection for no particular reason. I know that a lot of the maybe the reasons for it does come down to kind of money and sort of financial kind of things because you obviously have to pay in order to enter the national selection. Um, but also at the same time to keep it going for such a long time, it kind of sucks all of the hype out, which kind of,
Yeah.
if it goes on for so long, people don't really pay that much attention to it. I think, like when we look at national finals that are going for quite some time, like a good example of that is Melody Festival. And because yes, it goes on for 6 weeks, but there's still something really interesting about it. Compare that
Hmm.
with Lithuania's national selection, which also goes on for 6 weeks. Like it really just comes down to the length and the quality of the songs as well. If you have good quality songs in there, you're going to, build up hype. And it just feels like San Marino just didn't really kind of get that kind of memo, which is kind of sad because they have really good songs. Like we've seen them send really good
Hmm.
songs. So yeah, it was kind of a shame. So yeah, so let's talk about then the final because I feel like, that's kind of really the only one that had sort of something come in. They initially said they weren't going to bring in big artists, and then they did bring in big artists. And then obviously, they've had the show now held in the Teatro Novo, I think is how you say it
Mm,
in
yeah.
Yeah, the Teatro Dogana, some one like that anyway,
No, see.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just
Yeah,
said
one of
see.
the two anyway. Yeah. Um, so like, yeah, I mean, obviously you said that it was a bit, some bits needed improvement. I mean, did like from the bits of the show that you saw, did you like what you saw in terms for like the pacing of the show and how was that for you?
No, I felt, and I'll be honest.
You can be as honest as you want.
Okay. I felt like sometimes it looked like a massive advertisement. Like they brought up three judges, um, Ivan Zanicki, Morgan, and I don't remember who the third one was. They didn't even vote. They were just there to talk. That was like very random, like very, very random. They've also been it's curious because they've also been related to some controversies recently. So it's kind of like they did it on purpose to like get more hype. I don't know. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird, and I don't think people in San Marino were proud of that. And then also the fact that I mean, the winner is fully decided by, now I don't remember how many juries there were, but no televote, just, I don't know, five people maybe they were. I don't remember. But like that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, people from San Marino exist,
Yeah.
So I think they also need like to, I wouldn't say, I mean, yeah, vote to decide who needs to go to Eurovision. I felt like it was like a massive advertisement because 10 finalists, 10 invited artists, you know, it is okay, but it felt like an advertisement because every time they would talk to a certain person and like advertise something, so it was like 3 hours of, I don't know, just
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't
It
enjoy
felt
it.
like it was just going on for a very long time and they were kind of just peddling certain bits, I guess, in a way. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I think that's also the kind of the thing because a lot of like for such a small country, they really want to put themselves on the big stage. And I think, in order to secure some of these big names, I think they kind of have to do all these kinds of things, don't they? Um, I think overall, like the show, like the bits that I saw was good. Like some performances were very good. Like there was some good audience participation in that kind of way. And I think the quality of the songs that did actually get to the final were also like some of them did actually stand out in a good way.
Hmm.
Um, I think, eh, like how we were saying, I think it's kind of tough when to just watch it when it just goes on for such a long time as well because it started at around sort of 9 o'clock or something and then it finished only at like 1 a.m. Like I understand they're trying to be like San Remo, but also it's not San Remo here. Like you need to build up to getting to San Remo levels. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I was intrigued to see how it was going to be. But I don't know. I feel like it's a tough call, especially for such a small country, because we should be sort of celebrating the fact that they even have a national final in this first place. But yeah. So with the songs that you did hear, were which ones kind of stood out to you? Was there any that you actually enjoyed?
Yes, the song My Love by Dolce Nera. I'm a
Okay.
big fan of Dolce Nera, and I enjoyed the song. And being honest, I don't remember the rest. Like I do remember Inis Nediri, of course I remember Senhit. I do remember some, but I think my absolute favorite for this national final was Dolce Nera.
Oh, yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, like, it was like I know Dolcenera was one of like the big favorites anyway going into this once all of the acts were announced, weren't they? So like I'm
Hmm.
not surprised that it ended up being like that. For me, again, I liked Rosa Chemical in general, just because like Rosa Chemical, I liked like them anyway at San Remo. So like anything that they had in San Remo was going to be the same in there, like in San Marino. So I was kind of happy that they kind of brought something not maybe the same, but it felt like it was in the same family essentially. I also obviously liked Ines Naziri. Ines Naziri was obviously there. Obviously she failed in Festival Cungus. And I mean, I'm just also going to give a shout out to Shayla as well in Festival Cungus, obviously because she brought the exact same song. And I liked that song in Festival Cungus, and I still like it now, but I don't think it was probably a good fit for San Marino, given that it was in Albanian. So yeah. Um, Yeah, that was fine. And then again, also Magdalena Tool. I mean, I loved her in 2011. You know, she did Eurovision before, and it was nice to sort of see that kind of element in there, like, you know, like elevation. I think she
Hmm.
stepped up her game as well, which is nice to see. And to be honest as well, Andreas Habibi and Aura, like it was nice to see like a bit of variety like that. You like in what world would you hear a song like that coming from San Marino? But you know, that's the beauty of the open nature of of the contest there, isn't it? So it's great. Very weird. So but obviously now we have our winner, which is Senhit and potentially Boy George. We still don't really know whether or not he'll actually be going to Eurovision or not. She has hinted that he has said yes, but we won't say anything until obviously we see the rehearsals and stuff or the live performance
Mm-mm.
because Senhit has teased us. She's blue balls us before with these kinds of things, you know, with Flo Rida. So I'm not at all surprised. She'll probably keep the game going with that. But yeah, what did you think of the winning song? How do you think its chances are once we get to Eurovision?
So when I first heard it, I was not a fan. Then I heard it again and I said, it's all right. It's not too bad. But I don't think it has potential, honestly, to qualify for the final this time. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but I just, I mean, again, I wouldn't say it's bad. I just don't think it is competitive enough for Eurovision.
Yeah, I think it's a tough call because it's like it's literally a disco song inspired by like the 70s, the 80s, and it's very rooted in the 80s, obviously, when you have like an artist who is, you know, famed from that era, also taking part in that as well.
Mm-mm.
I think it's a very tough call in the sense that like it was obviously like the big name out of everything like that. I think that was the reason why
Yeah.
it won. Like the name was like, oh my God, it's Boy George that's doing this, you know. But I think now that we get to Eurovision, I think it's going to stand out, but for the wrong reasons. I think like it does have some good elements to it. There is definitely an audience for this song. You know, I
Mm-mm.
like a disco song as much as the next person. And, you know, Senhit herself is a very, you know, charismatic performer. Um, but I'm just looking at where San Marino is at, you know, it's competing in the second half of the first semi-final. And you have some big songs in there. You have, you know, Montenegro, you have Serbia, you have Poland. Israel is obviously in there too. Like, you know, these big names and these big songs, and then you have this kind of middle of the road kind of disco kind
Mm-mm.
of song. I do think it will struggle. Which is a
Yeah.
shame because, you know, it was nice to see San Marino get into the final last year. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I don't
Where do
know
you
if
think we'll finish?
yeah, wait, sorry. I don't know if the fact that Italy's in that semi-final might help, but I mean, it made sense last year because like Gabri Ponte is like Italian legend.
Yeah, of course.
So
Who doesn't
I
love
mean,
Tutta l'Italia?
Senate,
Come on.
but like I'm not sure about Senate. Like Boy George, I think is more towards the UK. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely agree with you. And sorry, what did you ask?
Yeah, I was just saying like how do you think it will finish? Like do you think where it will kind of fall in the ranking?
I don't think it will get last. But not enough to qualify. I don't know.
Mm,
I don't
mm.
have in mind who's in that semi-final, but not enough to qualify.
Yeah, I think it would be very hard to try and get into the final with that because semi-final one is filled with all of the big, you know, fan favorites. You know, you've got
Mm,
Greece, you've got Sweden, you know, you've got you know, Finland, all of these big names that are obviously like in contention to win, and they're going to suck up a lot of the votes. So I think if they were to try and get in again, like if San Marino were able to do that before, I think it would. I don't think it'll happen so much this time. I do think you are right in thinking that Italy is in this semi-final, so they can vote. And that is what got them over the line last year because, you know, Gabri Ponte only won, like, qualified by like 2 points or something last year. So it did really matter there. This, I think, is a bit harder. I think this will be a harder
mm.
sell. Um, but stranger things have happened. We thought the same thing with Serhat back in 2019, and then he ended up, you know, qualifying. So, stranger things have happened. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how it'll go. But yeah.
Me
So
too.
yeah, so do we have any sort of final points on San Marino just before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, no, just what I said. So I just want to add that I love San Marino. I think that the broadcaster as well works really well. I think they have amazing chances of genuinely doing a great national final. So it just feels like just makes me feel bad to see that it's not working that well, both in terms of like the show itself and the songs we have in it, which were great, but not enough for Eurovision. So I think that, again, as I said, that there have to be improvements, but I think that San Marino, I think they can do it. They just have to focus
Yeah,
on
just
that, but I think
focus.
they can
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. I think there is a lot of potential in San Marino, and I think like they have a good idea and a good concept for a national final. It's just I think they're just throwing everything at it. And when you
Mm,
really shouldn't, like there's no need to be saying like let's just have this go on for like 6 months. Like I understand it's obviously probably very financially beneficial, but also at the same
mhm.
time, if it's going to lead to a bad placement, is it worth it? Um, but I understand what they're going for. I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring next year, because I do think a lot of people will not appreciate this song. But I'm hopeful that fingers crossed that they will change something within their format and just kind of, you know, pay attention to other resources and just try to be like, okay, let's try to come up with the best complete package as opposed to just like saying, let's just have a huge national final for the sake of having a huge national final. You know, it's fantastic a small country can do that, but we
Mhm.
need quality, not quantity here. So,
Exactly.
um, yeah, so I'm intrigued anyway, but we'll see. Maybe again, I'm open to being surprised, so it'll be intriguing to see. So, yeah, come on, San Marino, you can do this. Who wouldn't want to go San Marino 2027? It'd be great. Good. Anyway, yes, so that is our thoughts for San Marino's song for 2026. Do you agree with our opinions? Do you disagree? Please do let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Please subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell just so that you can always get notified for whenever we get a new video coming out. Thank you so much, Sivi, as well, for chatting all things San Marino here. It's been
Thank you.
lovely to chat as usual. And yes, please do check out all of our social medias at that Euro site. Check out that Eurovision site as well.com because obviously we're getting into the pre-party season and now we're getting all of the details ahead of Vienna. So it's going to be a fantastic opportunity to keep in touch and see that kind of stuff. So please check us out there. Follow along in the conversation. We'd love to know what you guys are talking about. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.